Tonight on CTV News, local wheelie bin collectors demand better recognition for their duties. Farmers in the north are praying for rain, and a fire destroys one of Christchurch's last historic sites. We've got the latest.
Broadcasting across Canterbury. From the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening, welcome to CTV News, now streaming live every night at ctv.co.nz. Local wheelie bin collectors will be hoping for a resolution this week after clocking out of work early. They're demanding more pay and more recognition for their duties. And now a meeting is being held to sort the issue out once and for all. Here's Jeremy McCulloch.
Some Christchurch residents may have found their bins still full on collection day, with workers clocking off early. The 50 wheelie bin collection drivers have been finishing up work at 2 p.m. for over a week, leaving some bins still full, but the Workers' Union hopes a resolution will come soon.
We had a telephone conference with the Employment Relations Authority a couple of weeks ago, and we've offered to attend mediation, and the employer has also. Which will be this Friday.
Low wages and penalty rates for working overtime are the main concerns for drivers, wanting more recognition.
I think it's early days. I mean, our people are pretty much devoted to their job, what they do, and no one wants to disrupt the public. That's not what it's about. We just want some recognition for the extended hours they're often required to do. I think it needs the employer to recognise that these people are required to do those extended hours, and there needs to be some sort of incentive for them to continue to do that. Not on an ongoing basis, but when they are required to do it, I think they need to receive some sort of incentive.
He says many workers will complete split shifts, working longer than 8 hours.
But the major concern is the extended hours, the long hours, the young people, young families coming to work at 5:30 in the morning, going home sometimes as late as 7 at night. It just isn't acceptable. It's got to stop. They're dodging lampposts all day, they're dodging kiddies, members of the public, motor vehicles, plus they have to get out of their vehicle more often than they'd like to. They have to pick up contaminated refuse physically, and it's just not that normal, typical truck driver's job, and that's got to be worth something to them.
But plans are in place for things to change. Waste Management is working with the union. A meeting is being held this week to hopefully put the issue to rest.
I think most of the residents have been pretty sympathetic and understand. I mean, everyone notices these boys out late at night, and they shouldn't be out late at night because it becomes a health and safety issue too. Obviously we'll try mediation, and we'll go there with an open mind, as our people will, and we'll go there with a view to getting a resolution. If there is no resolution, I guess the drivers will have to decide where to from here.
It could be likely that it plays out a lot longer, but they're hoping for a resolution by the end of the week.
We're just hopeful that we can get a resolution, and I know our people are, and we'd like to think everyone can just move on with a satisfactory agreement that both parties can live with.
Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
It's been a dangerous morning on the road for Christchurch bus drivers with 2 crashes. One crash occurred on QE2 Drive at 8:45 involving the Orbiter and 3 cars, but luckily nobody was hurt in that crash. But earlier on this morning, one person was taken to hospital with minor injuries after a crash between a bus and a van in Parklands. Well, to the day's other top story now, and spring may have started, but many farmers are already praying for rain, especially those in North Canterbury. Gordon Finlater spoke to Federated Farmers about the current drought conditions in parts of the region.
Many farmers in North Canterbury are already feeling the pinch, with this year's rainfall levels at close to half of the average to date. With the country currently experiencing El Niño, many weather experts are predicting this summer to be our driest in decades. Federated Farmers North Canterbury representative Dan Hodgin spoke with CTV News about how badly farmers need a decent rainfall.
I don't think we've had a rain event in since June last year that's been over about 25 or 30 mils in a day, so that gives you an idea of how far behind we are. It's the one thing with El Niño is they do predict a colder and wetter spring in general for the East Coast, but we're certainly not seeing that at the moment. No, we just need decent rain. I mean, the soil's so far behind, it's already in a deficit at this time of year. Last year it was bloody wet.
Things are having to be kept tight as farmers prepare for the worst. If the spring rain doesn't arrive, rural towns could pay the price.
The likes of the RNO, you've got to remember that while we have a bit of tourism, we have a fairly successful sort of wine region. A large amount of the economic activity in our communities as a whole is driven from farming, and if the dry land's under the pump because of the weather and the irrigated and dairy farmers are under the pump because of the payout, it's shaping up to be a pretty lean Christmas, put it that way.
With agriculture a big player in the economy, a major drought event on the east coast will have a flow-on effect to the rest of the country.
Talking to one livestock agent, he reckons he could potentially be sort of 30% down on the number of lambs he puts through this season. And when you think about it, that flows through to the trucking company, and it flows through to the meat works and the shorter season, right the way through the chain to the ports, to everybody.
Here's hoping spring can provide a few downpours for those in need before what is expected to be a very warm summer. Gordon Findlater, CTV News.
Still to come here on CTV News, we take a closer look at the inner workings of Littleton Port. Welcome back to CTV News. Well, for the first time ever, the public will get a closer look of the inner workings of Littleton Port with monthly boat tours beginning at the end of the month. Our campaigns reporter Chelsea Daniels explains.
Have you ever wanted a closer look of daily life at the Littleton Port? Well, now you can, with the port offering free guided tours via boat on the last Sunday of every month. You'll have to get in quick though, with the first tour scheduled for the end of this month already fully booked.
We're putting boat tours around the harbour as a chance for people to have a good look at what we're doing, development-wise. It's something after the earthquakes people haven't been able to see, particularly because the road above the port is shut, and that stops people getting a good overview of our development work.
Davies says there's a lot planned for the future, progress that the community can follow along the way.
Two big developments that you can see physically are the reclamation, so we've now reclaimed close to 9 hectares of land, and we're also close to completing a new berth called Cash and Key No. 2 berth.
The 230 metre long Cash and Key No. 2 wharf is an $85 million upgrade that started construction late last year.
The wharf itself, look, if we get a good run, it'll be finished by Christmas, could well be by February, somewhere in that time frame.
They will have some of their most experienced staff on board to answer questions from the public to make sure that everyone can get a good understanding of what's happening, what's planned and why.
I think they're interested in where the port's going to as a whole because, a lot of people in Canterbury do understand the importance of the port to them. As I say to people, when you had your coffee in the morning, it came through the port. So the port's actually integral to what we do every day, and we know a lot of people just want to see what development's going on and what the future of the port looks like.
Along with the Christchurch long-term plan talks, Littleton Port has been discussed as being a hot topic around asset sales, along with Christchurch International Airport and Orion.
From our side, the sale of assets or not, that's for our owners to decide, so we don't get involved in that. What we do is try and run the port the best we can, and in this case, understand that the public's really important to us and let them know what's going on in the port.
A number of fatal accidents in recent years has moved the port to make a number of changes to improve their health and safety. And the safety factor doesn't stop with just their employees.
One of the things with increased security and health and safety is we can't let people drive through a port. It's just, it's too dangerous an environment for that. But by putting them in the water, we've got them in a contained environment so that they can see the port, understand what we're doing, learn a bit more about it without, getting in our way and getting in harm's way.
At the end of each tour, passengers are invited to make a donation to Cholmondeley Children's Centre, located nearby in Governor's Bay.
Cholmondeley, to our perspective, is a really good charity for a start off. So it deals with children, particularly children that are coming from at times difficult homes, gives relief for families who want to put their children somewhere just to give them a break. And it got very hard hit by the earthquake. Its buildings were knocked out. So by giving a donation to them, it helps them to rebuild and to look after the families of Canterbury.
Port tours can be booked by phoning Littleton Port reception. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
The very first Chinese Language Week has been launched in New Zealand, with Prime Minister John Key talking up the benefits of speaking Mandarin. But how will Canterbury be celebrating? Chelsea Daniels explains.
Well, it's Chinese Language Week, and it couldn't be a better time to encourage children to learn the native language of Mandarin. China is New Zealand's most important trading partner and the second largest economy in the world. The Chinese language of Mandarin trumps any other spoken language in the world, with about 955 million native speakers worldwide, 1/5 of the planet. And one Christchurch school has taken it upon themselves to teach their pupils the importance of being bilingual.
We have 21% Asian population in our school, so it's a huge part of our culture at school. We have some teachers that have basic Mandarin and are learning alongside our students with Mandarin classes each week, so definitely building our capacity to be able to speak Chinese and Mandarin at school. We are very multicultural, the school, so all of our different cultures are important. So having this week to showcase Mandarin and the Chinese culture is obviously one way we can celebrate the cultural diversity with our kids.
She says Cobham Intermediate has put emphasis on learning the language at their school to better empower their students' futures.
We want to support our students to build the skills that are going to be necessary to be global citizens, and so therefore we recognise the importance of the Mandarin language and knowing a lot, as much as possible, about Chinese culture for our kids to build that in terms of being able to go out and be proactive global citizens in the future.
Bell, along with selected students, are making the estimated 14.5-hour journey to China for the young people to experience the cultural diversity.
I'm really excited. I get to take a group of students from Cobham Intermediate. We're heading over to China and to Korea to just establish better relationships, to learn a bit more about that culture and build connections and understanding for our kids back here in New Zealand about what it's like living over in China and building empathy in terms of being able to connect with our Chinese students back here at school.
The school already has connections with China and are hoping to find more.
We currently have a sister school relationship with the school in Guangdong province, and we are looking to establish a sister school relationship with the school in Chengdu.
Chinese visitors to Christchurch have increased dramatically over the last few years. China South Airlines, the largest airline in Asia and the third largest in the world, will fly 3 services a week between the South Island and China from December this year. This will add up to 70,000 seats into the South Island and $100 million per annum to the GDP across the regional South Island. The announcement follows a similar trend made by China Airlines last summer, who offered an extra 24,000 seats between Christchurch, Sydney and Taipei. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
The Prime Minister has already said no to adding it to the voting pool, but support for the red peak flag design appears to be heating up. So reporter Gordon Finlater went out on the streets of Christchurch to ask you what you really think.
This is the red peak flag designed by Aaron Dustin. The flag has received over 31,000 signatures on a change.org petition, causing some politicians to ask for it to be included in the shortlist for referendum. Prime Minister John Key doesn't agree, though, saying the Aaron Dustin design would not be added as a 5th option. What we wanted to know, though, is what you think of the red peak compared to the 4 current options.
I actually don't like it, not at all. No.
Don't think it symbolises New Zealand?
No, not at all. No. Oh, maybe the mountain, but crook or something, but that's all.
No, I don't know what the symbolism means. It doesn't mean anything to me. I much prefer the other 4.
Prefer one of those 4?
Yeah, probably the silver fern.
Would you like to see that added to the list, or do you like it?
Doesn't say New Zealand to me. That's just my opinion.
No, I think throw it in the mix. Throw it in the mix, John.
I sort of like the one with the stars on it.
One with the silver fur?
Yeah. That one.
It's funny actually, initially I didn't think much of that flag, but I did do the research and looked into the meaning behind it, and I actually think it's really good. I do. I think it stands for a lot that New Zealand represents, and I think it could be a really good option for us.
No, I think the other 4 are probably better suited. That doesn't look like a flag at all.
While the red peak had mixed results, one choice still popular with many is to just keep things as they are.
I don't want any of the other 4. I want the one we have. I don't like any of them. The current one will do me. I like the one we got. Yeah, we fought under it.
No, we keep our original flag. Money could be spent. Health, education and important issues. Flag stays.
Christchurch police are still investigating the cause of a fire which damaged an historical site on the weekend. Jared McCulloch has the latest on the devastated sign at the Bellbird building.
A historic site up in smoke.
I swore. I was very upset. It didn't need to happen. So I was very, very upset. It doesn't make any sense that this should happen. Hasn't the city lost enough of its heritage without mindless vandalism like that?
The sign of the Bellbird went up in flames on Saturday night. The fire is being treated as suspicious. But Bilovic hopes they'll find those responsible.
Just find something else to do. Don't take our heritage away.
It's in a remote area, a 35-minute drive west of Littleton, saying it could be difficult to monitor the site.
Have no idea how to tackle that sort of problem. Even maybe security cameras could have come into it.
The hut tells a historic story to Cantabrians, being one of the 4 buildings constructed in the early 1900s.
Sign of the Bellbird was part of a big project done in the 30s by a man called Harry L. And he was born here in Christchurch. He was a Cantab. He loved the city. He loved the Port Hills. And he had a dream. He knew Christchurch was growing very fast and he wanted to protect the natural state of the city. And so he envisioned these rest houses that would go from the side of the Tākehei, side of the Kiwi, right round to Godley Heads. So 24 he had in mind and only 4 were built before he died in 1934.
She's been keen on Canterbury's history since a young age, taking interest at school, and now she monitors websites oozing with information about the region's past. A lot of buildings have come down due to the quakes, some unavoidable.
We're 165 years old this year, and we definitely need to take more care of our heritage. So much has gone, and every time a building comes down, that's a human story that's gone, that our kids don't seem to learn about, and it's not part of our city that hasn't got some sort of Cantab story behind it.
But she says it's disappointing to hear news like this.
I do hope they rebuild it. It is made of stone. It looks like the roof's completely gone off it, but stone is pretty strong, not in earthquakes apparently, but definitely when it comes with fire, so I do hope they look at restoring it. What we've got left needs to be restored.
A Christchurch resident is even putting up a $1,000 reward to find the suspect.
Wonderful. Yeah, if you got the money, if people got the money, and my hat goes off to anybody who steps in with their own money to save our heritage. People are buying old homes and removing them, restoring them, and it really makes me happy, and my hat is off to them. I wish I could do that myself.
Investigations into the fire are continuing. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
And still to come here on CTV News, your region's weather forecast. Welcome back to CTV News. 300 millilitres of alcohol. That's all it could take to kill you. According to St John, they've released information on the threat alcohol poses to young people and says it's even possible for young people to consume a deadly amount of undiluted spirits before showing signs of intoxication. A recent coroner's report found teenager Bailey Elliott died of alcohol poisoning in Timaru October last year. She was drinking spirits on the night she died. And now it's time for your weather forecast.
Good evening, Canterbury. Today we saw lovely sunny skies and light winds, a bit of a cool breeze here and there, but mostly a fine day across the region. Today's highs 10 degrees for Timaru and Waimate, 7 degrees there for Twizel. Central Canterbury 11 degrees for Christchurch, Leeston and Ashburton, 10 though for Akaroa and Darfield, and 8 degrees for you Methven. Heading further north, sunny skies here as well. At Kaikoura you are on 10, sharing that with Cheviot, Culverden, Hanna Springs and Rangiora. A little bit more for Amberley and Oxford on 11 degrees today. Over to the mountain ranges, 9 degrees for Arthur's Pass and 7 there for Lake Tekapo and Mount Cook. Timaru, you can expect cloudy skies with sunshine tomorrow for your weather temperatures, 12 degrees there. Northeasterly winds coming through in the afternoon and 1 for your morning start. Ashburton, a similar picture here with sunny skies, cloud present in the afternoon and northerly winds freshening your afternoon also. Christchurch, a nice day in store with sunny skies, 12 degrees for your high, and northeasterly winds breezing through, 4 for your morning. Kaikoura, a similar picture here again with cloudy skies and sunshine for you, 13 degrees for your high and 3 for your morning start. Sunny skies for the rest of the Canterbury region, South Canterbury particularly sunny here for you, 13 degrees for everyone apart from Twizel, you're on 8 degrees. Central Canterbury, northerly winds for Leaston and Methven, northeasterlies there coming through in the afternoon for Akaroa, 14 degrees for you Darfield, so quite a nice day. Heading further north, sunny skies here for everyone as well, 14 degrees is the expected high for most places, apart from Oxford on 13 degrees. And over to the Alpine region, sunshine and cloud here too, especially for Lake Tekapo and Arthur's Pass on 8 degrees. Thursday and Friday, we're expecting warm temperatures on Thursday. 16 is the high there for Christchurch. Could be a little bit of rain mid-afternoon with southerly winds coming through as well, and a few showers in the morning, early morning start there. Flipping over to Friday, southerly winds cooling down the temperatures, drizzle for most of the day, patchy rain for most places, and there could be a few fine breaks though for Christchurch. Thursday for the rest of the Canterbury region is looking mostly fine, apart from that rain coming through in the mid-afternoon mark. Southerly winds there around the afternoon as well. Flipping over to Friday, we're expecting it to be a little bit colder on Friday with those southerly winds, and we're also seeing cloudy patches in the sky. However, as we move further north, that sun is definitely out at times during the day. So this evening we are expecting it to be a frosty one, and tomorrow morning as well, so you might need to get your credit card out to scrape off the ice on your windshield. And we are expecting over the next couple of days it to be quite cold for the evening for Kaikoura. Could be a bit of a snow on Thursday night to 600 metres. And that's your weather update for Tuesday.
Thanks, Mercy, and don't forget to join me on News Talk ZB tomorrow for live and local talkback from 8:35. But if you want to get in touch with us here at CTV, if you've got a news story, just to email the news team, news@ctv.co.nz, and check out all the details too, including live reports from our website, ctv.co.nz. And that is our bulletin tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.